his clarity and his direction is top priority, will inevitably rise. Not because the world is fair, but because it follows the law of vibration, and nothing vibrates higher than a mind and soul aligned with its true power. Let us not confuse putting yourself first with selfishness. Selfishness is taking without giving, demanding without offering, expecting without effort, but putting yourself first is the foundation of contribution. A man who knows who he is, who has trained his mind, sharpened his habits, guarded his time, and cultivated his inner world, he is capable of giving something the world actually needs. Strength. Most men are exhausted not because they work too hard, but because they betrayed themselves for too long. They say yes when they mean no. They run on empty, trying to please people who wouldn't notice if they disappeared. They silence their ambition to maintain appearances, all the while watching their potential rot inside them like fruit left too long in the sun. That is not nobility. That is negligence. Your first responsibility in this life is to lead yourself, not your boss, not your spouse, not your peers, you. And leadership begins with priority. Ask yourself in the silence of your mind, where do I place myself on the list of importance each day? If you are not at the top, then you are building a life of resentment. Because no matter how noble your intentions, you cannot give what you do not possess. A man must rise each morning and anchor himself in self-respect. He must begin with the sacred hour before the world demands his attention. That hour must be protected like a fortress. In that hour, he must train his mind. He must choose his thoughts. He must write down what he is building. He must reattach to his definite purpose. For a mind left untrained will betray you to chaos, but a mind directed each day becomes a magnet to the riches of life. Do not check your phone before you check your pulse, your mental pulse, your emotional pulse, your purpose pulse. The man who is reactive in the first hour of his day will remain reactive all day long. He will be tossed from task to task, triggered by every opinion, derailed by every delay. But the man who begins in stillness begins in strength. To put yourself first is to become a master of your calendar, a master of your space, a master of your energy. Your time is not just money, it is identity. How you spend it reflects who you believe yourself to be. The man who values himself will not hand over his hours to the unworthy. He will not fill his calendar with distractions just to feel busy. He will not take meetings that steal his momentum. He will design his days around his mission, and everything else must wait. Your body, too, is sacred ground. Do not speak of wealth if you cannot manage your health. What good is a brilliant mind if the body that houses it is falling apart? The energy you bring to your work, your relationships, your creations, it is generated through motion, through breath, through discipline. Move your body daily. Eat what sharpens, not what numbs. Sleep like your dreams depend on it, because they do. Putting yourself first requires that you become intimately familiar with silence. Silence is where truth speaks. Not in the noise, not in the crowds, but in the quiet. Most avoid silence because it reveals what they've ignored. But you, if you are to succeed relentlessly, must learn to seek it. It is in silence that your intuition speaks clearly. It is in silence that you recognize what must be done next. You must also become intolerant of low standards, not just in others, but in yourself. Excellence is not an event, it is a standard you set in the invisible moments. How you do anything is how you do everything. The man who throws his clothes on the floor will also miss the small detail in the contract. The man who tolerates junk in his kitchen will also tolerate chaos in his business. Clean the kitchen, make the bed, polish the small things, and you polish your future. You cannot put yourself first and still cling to your old identity. That version of you, the one who lived to please, to wait, to hesitate, must die. Not slowly, but immediately. You cannot become who you were meant to be while defending who you used to be. Let the old version of you be buried under the weight of your new standards. This includes your circle. Who you surround yourself with is who you will become. Are you keeping company with men who challenge your thinking, who fuel your fire, who sharpen your edge? Or are you surrounded by complainers, gossips, cowards, and critics? You must protect your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. Proximity is power. Be close to excellence, and you rise. Be close to mediocrity, and you rot. Do not explain your elevation. Those who truly want to rise will ask how. Those who don't will complain that you've changed. Let them. You were not born to keep everyone comfortable. You were born to fulfill a purpose so big it demands the full version of you. Not the polite version, not the edited version. The whole man. Putting yourself first means telling the truth to yourself and to others. It means saying, "This path is mine, and I will walk it even if others do not understand." It means choosing long-term growth over short-term applause. It means declining invitations that pull you off course. It means walking away from the good because the great is calling. You cannot become great while clinging to the familiar. You must disrupt your patterns. You must initiate your own evolution. That means doing what's hard when it's easier to delay. That means waking up when no one would blame you for sleeping in. That means investing in your learning when it's more tempting to be entertained. This life is not waiting to reward your good intentions. It is already rewarding your current habits. You cannot escape the law of cause and effect. If your outcomes are weak, trace them back to your inputs. Who are you listening to? What are you practicing? What are you tolerating? Audit yourself like your legacy depends on it. Putting yourself first is not an act of arrogance. It is the ultimate act of humility, because it acknowledges that without discipline you will drift, without direction you will deteriorate, and without devotion to your own potential you will become a shadow of who you could have been. That is not humility, that is tragedy. So how do you begin? Start by eliminating excuses. They are thieves. They steal your time, your energy, your identity. Replace them with execution. You do not need motivation. You need a standard. Hold yourself to it like your life depends on it, because the quality of your life does. Set non-negotiables, your morning routine, your evening rituals, your movement, your silence, your inputs, your growth. Build them into your day like laws, not as burdens, but as the structure that liberates you. When you say yes to something, ask yourself, does this align with the man I'm building? If not, it's a no. It's not harsh. It's necessary. The man who says yes to everything says no to greatness. And finally, measure your life not in achievements, but in alignment. Are you becoming more of yourself or less? Are you building momentum or waiting for permission? Are you living from intention or reacting from emotion? The man who puts himself first does not live for validation. He lives for fulfillment. He does not seek to impress. He seeks to express. He does not wait to be chosen. He chooses himself. And the moment he does, the universe begins to rearrange itself in his favor. Because when you show up for you fully, fiercely, and unapologetically, everything else must fall into place. Putting yourself first is the foundation of all achievement, because it is the only path that leads to mastery over self. And mastery over self is the gateway to mastery over circumstance. The man who does not command himself cannot command anything in this world. He becomes a slave to his feelings, a puppet of public opinion, a drifter blown by every wind. But the man who takes control of his own thoughts, directs his energy with purpose, and aligns his habits with his vision, he becomes a force, not a noise in the crowd, but a presence that shapes the world around him. Success does not come to those who merely wish for it. It comes to those who become worthy of it. You must become a man who operates at the level your dream demands. You cannot hold on to weak thinking, lazy habits, disempowering beliefs, and still expect powerful results. There is no magic in success, only alignment. You must align your daily actions with your ultimate aim. And the fastest path to that alignment is to make yourself the most important project you will ever build. The tragedy is that too many men postpone themselves. They delay their greatness. They wait for the right time. But time is never right for those who wait. It is only right for those who act. Action is the language of belief. You cannot say you believe in your vision while living like you don't. The subconscious mind does not respond to words. It responds to demonstration. If you want to program your mind for success, let it witness you choosing yourself every single day. Do you wake up when your alarm rings, or do you negotiate with your potential for 5 more minutes of comfort? Do you begin your day in pursuit of your purpose, or do you scroll through distractions as if your time is disposable? Do you feed your body like a warrior or like a victim of circumstance? These small choices, repeated daily, are either forging your greatness or feeding your failure. Nothing is neutral. Let us talk about energy. The most precious asset you have is not time, it is energy. Time is useless without focus. Focus is impossible without energy. The man who leaks energy to drama, distractions, overcommitments, and emotional volatility will have nothing left for his mission. You must guard your energy with the same intensity you would guard your bank account if you knew someone was draining it dollar by dollar. Because energy is your currency of creation. How do you protect it? You become unavailable for nonsense. You do not attend every argument you're invited to. You don't respond to criticism from people who've never built anything. You don't try to fix people who refuse to rise. You walk away, not in anger, but in power. Because when you put yourself first, you understand that peace is not a luxury, it's a requirement. You also protect your energy by saying no more often. Most men are overwhelmed not because they have too much to do, but because they said yes too many times. Every yes must be paid for in time, energy, and attention. Ask yourself, is this yes worth the cost? If not, protect your mission with a no. Let your no be final, firm, and free of apology. You are not here to be available, you are here to be effective. And effectiveness begins with solitude. The man who cannot be alone is a man who cannot lead. Solitude is not loneliness. It is alignment. It is where you refine your thoughts, renew your vision, and reconnect with your purpose. If you don't spend time with yourself, don't be surprised if no one else wants to either. Because the man who cannot sit in silence with himself will forever seek noise to fill the void. This is why putting yourself first is the antidote to desperation. Desperation is born from emptiness. When you neglect yourself, you start needing too much from others, too much approval, too much attention, too much reassurance. But when you are full within, you no longer beg the world to validate you. You become self-sourced, self-fed, self-led. And that makes you dangerous in the best way. Because nothing is more powerful than a man who no longer needs the world's permission to live fully. You become bold, not reckless. Clear, not cold. Determined, not desperate. People feel that. They are drawn to it. Not because you chase them, but because you've become a lighthouse, unshaken, unwavering, grounded in purpose. Let us now address the false idea that putting yourself first requires perfection. It does not. Perfection is a myth. What is required is consistency. The man who shows up for himself, even when he's tired, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, he builds momentum. And momentum, once earned, will carry you through resistance that would have crushed you in your weaker days. To maintain that consistency, you must anchor to identity. Your habits must be born from who you believe yourself to be. If you believe you're a man of discipline, you act accordingly. If you believe you're a man of clarity, you do not tolerate chaos. If you believe you're a man of destiny, you do not operate like a man of distraction. Your belief about yourself is the thermostat of your behavior. Raise the belief, and your actions will follow. And as your actions change, so will your results. People will notice. They'll ask, what changed? And the answer will be simple. I stopped betraying myself. That single decision to honor your path, protect your peace, and invest in your power will alter the course of your life more than any external opportunity ever could. You begin to make decisions faster. You won't need to consult the crowd. You'll know. Because when you put yourself first, you build an internal compass that never leads you astray. You'll make moves not from fear, but from alignment. You'll walk into rooms with quiet confidence. You'll attract relationships based on truth, not performance. You'll create from abundance, not from lack. This is not a temporary transformation, it is a lifestyle. One that requires daily reinforcement. One that demands you return to your standards, your rituals, your boundaries every single day. Because the world is loud, and if you don't have a system to anchor yourself, you'll drift. So create your system. Define your non-negotiables. Maybe it's rising at 5 a.m. Maybe it's training your body without compromise. Maybe it's journaling your goals, reviewing your vision, meditating, praying, or building in silence. Whatever it is, do it. And do it as if your life depends on it, because the quality of your life does. And when setbacks come, and they will, you don't spiral. You recalibrate. You don't question your worth. You refine your methods. You don't abandon the path. You strengthen your grip. Because the man who puts himself first is not fragile. He is forged. He is built from self-respect, sustained by discipline, and propelled by purpose. Eventually you'll reach a point where success no longer surprises you, because it becomes predictable. Not because the road was easy, but because you were consistent. Not because life gave you favors, but because you gave yourself permission. And when you finally stand at the peak of your achievements, you won't feel lucky, you'll feel aligned. And you'll know that everything you gained began the moment you decided to stop waiting for someone else to choose you and chose yourself instead. Putting yourself first does not mean that you disregard others. It means you are finally equipped to serve them from a place of fullness, not frustration. When a man stands strong in his own self-respect, he becomes a pillar that others can lean on, not a burden to be rescued. He becomes an example not by preaching, but by being. This is how true leaders rise, not by force, but by frequency. When you choose yourself daily, you radiate a calm certainty. This certainty creates influence without manipulation, power without pressure, and results without resistance. You become an environment of elevation. Others feel it, they respect it, and more importantly, you trust yourself deeply. And that trust is the foundation for every external breakthrough you desire. A man who does not trust himself will always chase. He will chase love, recognition, opportunity, and wealth, not from belief, but from emptiness. But when you trust yourself, you stop chasing and start attracting. You operate from wholeness. You exude calm authority. You move through the world with conviction that says, I know who I am. I know what I want. And I will not be denied. And the world listens, because the world reflects back to you what you believe about yourself. This is the hidden truth. When you put yourself first, you are not selfish, you are spiritual. You are in harmony with your Creator's intention. No man was created to be a doormat. You were given gifts, intellect, vision, and a unique assignment. And if you continue to suppress your needs, your mission suffers. You must understand that your greatness serves the world. Your clarity brings light. Your strength breaks cycles. Your discipline inspires generations. And none of that can happen if you remain at the bottom of your own priority list. Let me be clear. Putting yourself first is not a one-time act. It is not a motivational spike. It is a daily standard. It is choosing not to ignore the call within. It is refusing to make excuses. It is standing in front of the mirror and saying, I am responsible for what happens next. That is the moment your life begins to transform. You must break the addiction to comfort. The man who worships comfort will never build legacy. Comfort zones are graveyards for potential. Growth lives outside of ease. And when you put yourself first, you deliberately choose discomfort, not for pain's sake, but for power's gain. You train your mind to lean into resistance, to treat fear as a compass, to pursue the things that most avoid. Because on the other side of discomfort is everything you want. Confidence, clarity, purpose, wealth. They are not handed to you. They are earned by the man who is willing to endure discomfort in service